Check out the brand new How to Become a Better Looking Man course by using the links below. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to address something that's been spoken about a lot. This is a long time coming. I should have done this a while back. I'm excited to talk about this because this is one of my favorite topics. And just a quick disclaimer at the start. I've spoken about this before. I've seen a 50-50 split in terms of resistance. A lot of guys have their own opinion. I've had mine. Other people have agreed, whatever, with either end. I saw Hamza made a video on this recently. I think it may have been motivated by some of the videos that I made in the past. It was a fantastic video. He's got his own approach on it. It was a video that he made where he spoke about you should spend some time chasing after women at some point, or experience with women, to obviously build up that experience, as I just said then. And my approach is more focused on success first, and then and this is the thing, like, well, to be honest, I think Hamza's approach is still very much, success first. But what he's saying is at some point you need some experience with women, okay? Which, look, I actually 100% agree with. I just personally think you can get an exponential version of that later down the line, which I'll explain. But to add some context on this, in case sometimes you get like black pill guys on here that get the wrong impression. Like, I've slept with a lot of women. I've done a lot of that shit when I was younger. It's not that impressive to me, okay? Like, for some guys, it's like, oh, I just want a woman. Like, I've done all that when I was young. I got my experience when I'm young. So for me to then tell you, don't chase after women, don't get your experience, it won't mean anything, I think that means quite a lot, okay? Like, probably from like 14 to like 23, 24, probably like 24, I started my business at like 21, 22 and started thinking about that stuff more. But from like 14 to 24, I kind of just went on a 10-year rampage. I was just sleeping with like as many women as possible. The worst was probably like a 6 out of 10. I stayed at like a 6 to 7 out of 10 kind of range, if we're doing it on like a global scale. But I got a lot of experience with women, okay? I've had 2 exes that were probably 8s out of 10, in their prime, like on like one certain day, they probably look like a 9, whatever. Like, I've had a ton of experience with beautiful women, okay? I've had lads holidays where I've slept with like 20 women in a week. Like, I've done all this stupid shit. I tell you this because it's not that I'm proud or I'm not proud. Like, some people say I'm not proud of it. Of course I am. I'm a man, right? But at the same time, it's like I'm aloof to it. I don't care either way. It doesn't enter my mind anymore. I'm 29. I don't really give a shit, okay? Just to add some context to this. So for me to then tell you guys, just don't bother wasting your time chasing them, I'll have to explain what that actually means, okay? And to put some context on this as well, I'm not correct. Hamza might not be necessarily correct. Somebody else in the comments might not necessarily be correct. We're also not necessarily wrong, okay? And this is what I love about what we're all doing right now with me, Hamza, the men, like the manosphere, if you would, and all the people involved in it, is there's no bitterness, there's no competitiveness. Everyone's just putting their views out. We're all mashing our minds together. If you haven't read the book The Village Effect, it's very much like that, where multiple minds come up with, better ideas and more ideas, and then you come to a fuller conclusion by the end. And I love it. Like when somebody says, that's good, but I would take more this approach. I disagree, but I think that's fantastic, because then the audience can decide what they want to deploy for themselves, because everybody's different. Okay? I just wanted to get that out of the way. And add some, obviously, background to this as well, so you know who you're listening to and like what kind of background I've had with women. But, and if you want backup, I've sent pictures of my ex to Hamza as well. Like, he'll vouch for me on that, how hot she was. In terms of my approach when it comes to like getting experience with women, the reason I say don't bother at the start is because you could end up wasting, let's take two, the easiest way to do this is take 2 guys, okay? Man 1, man 2. Let's say man 1 ends up spending from 26, so let's say 16 to 26, okay? He spends 10 years chasing after women, spends a ton of money, reads the game, does all the standard shit. And during that 10-year window, he sleeps with 3, okay? He works as hard as he can on attracting women. never does the gym thing, never does the success thing, just game, chasing women, buying the nice clothes, you know, all the shit that they used to tell you on blogs back in the early 2000s. And he sleeps with 3 women. He kisses 10. He has one relationship, you know, he's with a 5. And that's his total experience, okay? And he's ended up spending 10 years doing that. Now, if you get man 2, who takes like my kind of approach, and he goes kind of cold turkey from day one. So at 16, he's like, look, Chris said I shouldn't chase women. Chris said that I should really focus on myself, and that the Meek Mill quote, don't chase women because women come with that paper. I think that's what he says. I used to listen to a lot of Meek Mill, it seems, according to these last few videos. Yeah, he says something along those lines, but I don't know if that's an exact quote, but you get the idea, right, guys? So, in my opinion, if the guy were to do that, to take my approach, and he were to go cold turkey from, like, let's say 16 to 26, a lot of people assume when I make these videos and I tell you that he's going to be a virgin. He's going to have zero experience with women. But if he's focusing from 16 to 22, for example, on fitness, success, etc., like working hard, now in terms of fitness, he's going to have a pretty decent body. It's going to be well above average, and because of that, he's going to probably be low percentage body fat. He's going to look good, hasn't been out drinking. He's probably going to look pretty fucking special. So in terms of looks, he could be like a 7. In terms of body, he could be like an 8. Like, this guy, he's getting female attention. Now, in terms of success, I very much doubt, let's be realistic, from 16 to 22 that guy's put like $1 million in the bank, or even anything decent in the bank, right? But what he could have done, if he's really focused on success, he could have made some decent investments. They might not have popped off yet, etc. But he's in a good position there. He's got savings, whatnot. But what he could have done is gone out less than everybody else. He hasn't spent on shit. Okay, so he's in a much better position than everybody else. He's got 20,000 in the bank. Right, from 16 to 22, if you work a factory job, you could save that up quite easily. Let's say he's got 20k in the bank, no bills, whatever, like bills aren't high, he's living at home with parents, whatever, but he's got like an 8 body and a 7 face. That's a really good platform. That guy's in a fantastic position. I don't think, even if he's got zero experience with women, okay, I think all of us on this video right now will agree that he will be getting female attention from women roughly around his age and slightly younger. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. They're probably going to be interested in him to some extent in terms of just like, he's a good catch. He's pretty decent. Like, it's like a woman who's a 5, 6, 7 is going to want to fuck him. Okay, and it's up to him if he takes the opportunity at that point. And what I'm trying to tell you guys is the more that you improve, you don't go cold turkey. It's like anybody who becomes rich is not overnight. You don't go, I'm broke, I'm a millionaire. Like, it doesn't happen like that. You go from broke to £1,000 per month, to £2,000 per month, to 4, to 6, to 8, whatever. Next thing you know, it's 20, it's 50, it's 100,000 per month. Next thing you know, end of the year, you're a millionaire. And people are like, that happened quick, right? But they don't see the steps in between. Like, your life improved very slightly each singular time. And it's the same with women. And I've kind of got a theory. I say theory, but it's like, it's happened to me in my life now. Like, you guys know, I took a break from women in it was going to be 2 years. I'm at a point now where it's been like 1.5, 1.6 years. And my kind of approach to life is, don't go and get something unless it's the highest quality that you actually wanted. And a perfect example is a car, okay? You actually save more money. You actually benefit more when you do it this way. So if your idea is, each time I get a pay rise, I'm going to buy a car. Your first car is 5 grand. Your second one is 10 grand. Your third one is 20. Your fourth one is 80. Well, you're looking at, like, quick maths, I don't know, I think I said like 115 grand has gone out the door, okay, roughly. I might be wrong, but it's going to be around that limit. Then if you're like man 2 and you have no car, and then when you get in a position where you can afford the 80 grand car, like the high-end one that you really wanted, you go and buy that 80 grand car, you've only spent 80. That other guy spent 115. You're 35 grand better off than the other guy, but you have the same car. Do you see what I mean, guys? Like, you actually save more money. It benefits you more. And that also means he had 35 grand more to put into his business, his investment, his idea, whatever. So it probably means he's going to be even wealthier than the other guy. He can afford that 80 grand car more. It's kind of my approach. I think the same with houses, etc. Like, everyone upgrades anyway. You might as well just go from 0 and make the full fucking jump when you're ready and live like shit until you can. With women, I see the same thing. I never wanted to sleep with a woman that was less than a 7. Okay, and now I'm at a standard where I think 8s, 9s, and 10s is as low as I'm going. Unless a 7 has just an unbelievable personality, she just has something unique that nobody else has, then I will go there. So with that being said, I didn't really want to, like I said, I had women in the early days, but then I took breaks. Like I had girlfriends and whatever, but I like slacked off a little bit more, focused on business, fitness, and I focused more on quality of women. And I'm at a point now where I think it used to be a lot of attention from like 4s and 5s. In the summer, it was 6s and 7s. I've now noticed that the 8s are behaving like the 5s, 6s, and 7s now, okay? They're like following you around. You send them one message, they send you 7. Do you know what I mean? They're a little bit too keen to meet up with you. They're a little bit too involved in your life. Like, oh, I just saw that you did that. It's like, okay, yeah, we've switched roles here. She's become me when I was younger. Like, this is a bit weird. So what I'm saying is now that I have access to like 8s, and I don't know if it'll be 9s and 10s, are quite rare to find, but now that I have access to 8s, I'm gonna have a social life, okay? And that's that leap from basically having nothing by having a year and a half away from women. And I've cut it short because I've reached the 8s that I wanted. So I'm going to like rebuild my social life, and I'm going to start making episodes soon on rebuilding my social life. Episode 1, 2, 3, like life setup. I'm going to do rebuilding or creating life setup. Episode 1. I'm going to show you guys step by step how I'm going to do that in my new place and my life, how I'm going to build it around that. Okay. But I kind of have a theory on this based on what I'm experiencing right now and what I always thought when I was younger, that you almost have an exponential effect with women if you've put the work in. So go back to man 1 and man 2. Man 1, like I said, has had sex in 10 years with 3 women. He's had kissed 10 women, right, which doesn't mean fuck all. He's been on like 20 dates, and he's trying hard. And like the hottest woman he slept with is like a 6. Okay, so pretty poor results and 1 girlfriend. So he's got a fair bit of experience because of the girlfriends, but I'd say his experience level is probably like a 4 out of 10. With a 10-year investment and all that time that he's wasted, so he's not successful either, he's not in shape either, he's wasted all that time just focusing on women, and that's because it's such an extreme. So what somebody like Hamza is saying is at some point you should get some experience. So he's not saying you should just focus on women. So we're basically saying the same message, just in a slightly different way. But I think when I explain my next point, you'll be like, oh, you two are basically saying the same thing, just at different, timelines in your route, if you would. But as you're going through life and you're getting better, your success is improving, your body's improving, you're becoming more of a man. If you're ignoring women, using your time and money for you, and you're focusing on yourself, like I said, these women will come to you. Okay, and as you get to, let's say this guy man 2 does get to 26 years old, he's in a fantastic position. He's got 200,000-300,000 in the bank. Let's say in a great scenario. Okay, let's make it realistic. Let's say he's got 100,000 in the bank. He's got some solid investments that are, have like tripled, and he could take that out anytime he wants. He's had them in there for like 6 years. Let's say he's got a pretty nice place he's just moved into and a really nice car because he's just invested in himself. He's got his own decent business. And his body at this point, if he's been working since he was 16, so for like 10 years, is probably an 8, 9 or a 10, depending on his genetics, okay? He's dressing well, he's got the money, he's got a ball of life, okay? His life setup is immaculate. He now has access to, 8s, 7s and 8s, okay? Regularly, all the time. These girls are coming up to him. These girls are messaging him. They want to get involved in his life, okay? They want him. He's an outlier male now. He's got, within his age category, he's got something to lose. They want to be part of that. He could now be going on, even though, let's say this guy was a virgin before that. Let's go proper extreme. He's a virgin before that. No experience with women. Could even be a fucking simp, right? Because he's getting these women coming to him because of who he is, he could fuck up a million times with these women on dates. He could say all the wrong things. They're still going to want him to some extent. Like, we all know a guy who's super good looking, tall, handsome, whatever, great body, who is shit with women, has shit chat, all this other stuff, and he still gets laid. Like, we all know some, because it's just a certain level where people are blind to it. Women just don't care to a certain extent. So once this guy's gone up the levels, whatever, they're gonna give him a pass on certain things. They're almost gonna be like, yeah, but it's okay, he's hot. Like, it's okay, he's wealthy. Like, I'll let that slide. Like, 2 guys could say the same thing to a woman, but one's creepy and the other one isn't. Like the creepy one is the guy who's like a 4 out of 10. If a guy's a 9 out of 10, it's not creepy. The guy's like, ha, that's so funny, right? There's different rules. So by that guy rising up to that certain level, it allows him to make those mistakes. Now here's where the exponential effect comes in. He's now dating 4 women per week. Okay, and that's like 16 women per month, and he's sleeping with 1 every single month. So his hit rate is shocking, but he's sleeping with 1 every single month. Okay, so that other guy slept with 5 women in 10 years. This guy, in 5 months, if he carries on at that ratio, is going to trump him. Okay, he's done what he's done. You know, by the end of the year, he's got like 4 times the level of fucking experience of this other guy. And now he's starting to get good with women, because it's almost like, if anybody's ever done their driving test, if you're doing like 1 lesson per week, it's hard to pass. Whereas if you do like an intensive crash course, that almost sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? Driving lesson crash course. They should change the terminology there. But if you do like let's say 3 months intensive, where you're driving every single day and you've paid like £2,000 up front, by the end of those 3 months, you're more likely to pass, because your experience is every single day. You're doing 2 hours on the road, 2 hours on the road, 2 hours on the road. You're getting really good because it becomes familiar. Anybody who's ever played video games, the more you play them, obviously the better that you get. If you don't play for like a month and then you go on, it's like, this is pointless. I'm just getting slapped by all these like 12-year-old kids. There's no point me being on here. I'm speaking from experience, by the way. You know, some of these kids now are just destroying you. You're like, what's the fucking point? I'm too old for this shit. And this is what I think would happen in that guy's scenario. With that exponential effect, he's worked on himself. He's set himself up in a great position. Now women are coming to him. He's fucking up. He gets better with women. He becomes pretty good. He's gaining so much experience so quickly. Within like 6 months to a year, this guy could be like shit hot with women. Becomes like a fucking player. And then next thing you know, by the time he turns 30 years old, he's got a hit list of like 150 women that he slept with. And they're all like 8s and 9s. I know which scenario I would prefer, okay, rather than investing all your time into women and just getting, you know, but Chris, I've got experience with it. It's like, yeah, you got experience with 4s and 5s, but is it even worth it? Like, I'd much rather have no experience, and then, like, look, guys, I'm against marriage, but I would rather the scenario of 0 experience with women, and then you marry a stone cold 10, who's like 10 years younger than you, and you get to marry her, whatever, like you have kids with her, whatever. That's better than a guy who slept with like 400 women, but they're all 4s. Now that guy with the 10 is winning, right? That's a much better scenario. So it's almost that exponential effect. Like I said, you're going to gain that experience so much quicker that if you are a guy who has reached like the highest possible levels, and you end up sleeping with models, 8s, 9s, and 10s regularly, within 6 months, you're going to trump most guys' experience levels. And you're going to be sleeping with hotter women than they've ever slept with. So that's my kind of logic, guys. That's the way I look at it. So that experience that you lost, and, you know, all the time that you could have had with women, and guys are saying, but you're going to be a simp, whatever. You just gain it so much quicker on the other end that it just trumps that other side in like a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. You're past it. You're beyond it. And that guy on the left who's invested 10 years, who's got all this experience, who knows everything about women, who knows everything about game, he's still sleeping with 4s and 5s until he's like fucking 60 years old. It's just, I just think that side, the man 2 strategy, is so much better. I just think that's so much stronger. It just has better long-term results, quicker results. Like I said, they're exponential. And like I said, nobody's wrong here. Like Hamza is actually saying the same thing that I'm saying. He's just saying at some point, you should get some experience with women. I was very lucky when I was young. I got my experience at school. You know, from like year 7, so I was like 11 years old. Until I was like 14 before I got like spots and got a little bit awkward. Like I was getting a lot of women just effortlessly. Like they were coming up to me at school. Like, you know, in this like every girl does a top 5. Like I was always in some like every girl's top 5. I was in like that bracket sort of thing. It was fucking silly, but that's what it was. And then whenever you went out in your like hometown, because my school was in a different area, you went out in your hometown, it was the same thing again. Like girls were asking who you were. It made it easy because you didn't have to talk to them. They talked to you, and they would message you on MSN. Like it was easy. Do you know what I mean, guys? It was like, that's where I got my experience. And then as I got older, I really thought like being a player was the best thing ever. I looked exactly like Gaz from Geordie Shore, which might be hard to believe now, but I looked exactly like him with like the flicky hair. I've got some pictures somewhere. If anybody remembers the show, I'll bring it up actually. It'd be quite funny. And I would go out like 3-4 times a week, and I'd sleep with as many women as I could. And I got my experience then, but like even with that experience, even with that, like I had some good fucking fun as well, like some great girls. I'm even telling you, wasn't worth it. Was not worth it, because I'm 29 now. I'm about to like move into like my better years, my dream life, my male advantage years. And I'm not just saying I might like that's actually about to happen. I've just put things in place to make that happen. I've made the sacrifices up to this point. I'm about to go and enjoy myself. I seriously think if I had just ignored women completely and focused on success a lot earlier, fuck the experience and all the like sex that I had and whatever, and all the experiences with women, I could have been where I am now at like 24, 25. Okay, which would have, I might have ruined it. I might have like gone on a fucking coke binge and crashed a supercar into the wall. Who knows? Like that comes with maturity, right? But I think I would much rather be 4 or 5 years ahead of where I am now. Like who wouldn't? It just makes more sense. And I just think I could have skipped a lot of the, I think I could have skipped a lot of the hard times. I think I could have just blown past that and made my 20s a lot easier than what they actually were. So that's just some advice out there for you guys. It's 2 different approaches, whichever one you take. Like, just fucking enjoy yourself, right, guys? Just see how it goes. But I just think on that, if you front load that shit, on the back end, you just gain so much more experience that you trump any experience that you could have gained when you were low level. Like if you're a guy who's a 3 or a 4 out of 10 and you're sleeping with women that are like 3s, 4s, maximum 5 out of 10 if she's super drunk, right? Which you shouldn't really do, but that's probably what's going to happen. Well, you know, is that really experience? Do you know what I mean, guys? Like, is it really experience sleeping with a 3 or a 4? Like, it doesn't, I lasted 3 hours. Of course you did, right? Like, of course you did. Like, of course you lasted 3-4 hours with a 2. Like, it's not hard to do, but as soon as you, like if you're not going to improve on yourself, you're never going to get to the 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s anyway. But if you did, you wouldn't last 2 minutes because you haven't got that experience. Whereas as a guy who's, like, improved himself along the way, and then he's got 6s and 7s coming to him, and he's having sex with them, and he's enjoying them, and he's seeing what it's like to spend time with high-quality women, like, he's going to gain what your experience is in months. Maybe even weeks if it's that low level. Like, he's going to know what pretty women want. He's going to know what it's like to walk around with an 8 and have every guy looking. And as soon as you go to the toilet, some guy walks over and he's like, oh, hey, your boyfriend's... Like, I've had this situation. My last girlfriend was Caribbean Indian, and she was proper thick, big fat ass on her. And, like, wide hips, thin waist, all the shit, like, you can imagine, right? And every time, like, I turned my back, somebody was coming over. Until I put on like loads of muscle, then people just fucking stopped. But in the early days, it always happens. My ex, when I was like, I must have been like 21, 22. She would have been like 19, 20 by the time we broke up. And whenever we went somewhere, like the bouncer would always like come over and start talking to her. Guys who were older and bigger than me would like try and dance with her with me right there. And I was like, this is bullshit, man. That sort of experience from dating girls that are like 7s, 8s, and, you know, like I said, on their best night, like a 9, when they're all dressed up properly. When you got that level of experience, you understand a lot more, a lot quicker. You understand women a lot better. And I just think that exponential, like I said, by dating hotter women at a higher level, it just trumps it. It just trumps it so much quicker. You can gain more experience by having a relationship with an 8 than you for 6 months than you could being with a 2 for like 6 years, or sleeping with 100 women that are all 4s or below. Like, you can gain more experience with the 8. So that's just my approach, guys. See what you think. Check out the brand new How to Become a Better Looking Man course by using the links below.